No, man. Nah. No way. Kent Hughes. Ugh. Ew. Nasty, man. Ugh. Kent Hughes, you're getting nasty with it. The Montreal Canadiens have made a fantastic trade. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's nasty. Yeah, let's make a video where the first 30 seconds is just me exclaiming nasty words. But the Montreal Canadiens have made a trade with the St. Louis Blues. Seems like it's 1-for-1. Logan Mailloux is a Blue, and Zachary Bolduc is a Montreal Canadien. Pierre LeBrun said this: as we had reported before, the Habs and Blues had talked about a larger Jordan Kyrou deal, and obviously that didn't come to pass. Kyrou's full no move kicked in last night at midnight. Oh my gosh, man. Midnight. You got me burning in those pale lights, man. Like, is that the right lyric? I don't know. I just decided to say that off the top of my head. Montreal tried the trade for Kyrou, didn't work. He ends up getting the trade protection because now it's July 1st. But Kent Hughes, unrelenting, he's like, yeah, we can't get Kyrou. Let's get Bolduc instead. This is a great trade. We will skip past all the stuff with Sam Lafferty in Chicago. Oh my gosh, Lafferty's back in Chicago. That is really funny. But Montreal Canadiens fans are going to absolutely love this deal, and I'll tell you why. So, Logan Mailloux, 22 years old, 2021 31st overall pick. Zachary Bolduc, 22 years old, 2021 17th overall pick. 1-for-1 deal, so the Montreal Canadiens turned a 31st overall prospect to a 17th overall prospect. By my calculations, that is a 14-pick increase in the same draft class. But not only that, but Zachary Bolduc, based off of his name, yeah, he's from Trois-Rivières. He's a Quebec guy, 6 feet, 187, left-handed. He's a center, and this guy scored 36 points in 72 games with the St. Louis Blues. He also had 1 assist in the 7-game sample in the playoffs and 16 penalty minutes. I know you're looking at these numbers and you're saying, that's not that great. I mean, 36 points in 72 games, that's half a point a game. Not bad. Not bad. But he is only 22. And there's also the fact that Zachary Bolduc is an absolute crap disturber. This guy is a force of nature. You watch this guy play and you're like, wow, he is making an impact. He is scoring clutch goals. He is really getting under his opponent's skin. He's speedy. He really likes to go. You can read the scouting report here on Elite Prospects. It says, Bolduc's tools give him the upper hand in downhill battles. When defenders stand flat-footed or rush him, he dangles through them with rapid stick handling motions, and when given an open shooting lane, he can take a couple of steps, kick a leg back, and sling pucks past the goalie. The Elite Prospects Scouting Report Guide also talks about how this player does have those skills, he has the tools, he has decision-making, problems that stem from a lack of awareness or infrequent scanning of the ice. So yeah, there's a lot to go over here in regards to Bolduc, but this scouting report is from 4 years ago. Ultimately, though, I was really impressed watching Bolduc in the games against Vancouver, and that's kind of where I remember him the most, because if I recall correctly, he did get a lot of points against the Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, so he had scored a really clutch goal there for them against Vancouver. This little stint here, I actually did pick him up in fantasy for this stint exactly, and I mean, look at the splits. They don't lie. Let's just take a look at this here. Zachary Bolduc splits, and I think this is the better way to visualize him and his season. When this guy gets hot, he absolutely goes. So what exactly is this? Why is it just repeating the totals here? That does not look correct over here, but anyways, here it is. So Zachary Bolduc in the month of October had 3 points in 9 games. Not fantastic, but okay, he's there. November, he gets 4 points in 10 games. December, he gets 5 points in 14 games. So he wasn't really cooking too much at the beginning, first half of the year. But starting in February, this is where things really started to go well. Bolduc gets 5 points in 8 games in the month of February. Okay, there's a Four Nations break. They're not really playing any games, plus the fact that it's February. There's only 28 days anyway. March, 11 points in 15 games, including 8 goals. This is where Bolduc really started to come alive as the Blues were winning games and forcing themselves into the Stanley Cup playoffs with that crazy win streak. Bolduc was an underrated clutch part of that streak. And in April, he was also just barely under a point per game. I'm not saying that a sub-point per game clip is attainable for 82 games worth of time for Zachary Bolduc next year in a Montreal Canadiens sweater, but I am saying is when his team is going and his team is hot, Bolduc is usually one of the guys who is lighting a fire under the rest of his team's forecheck and goal-scoring touch. Meanwhile, going back over to St. Louis, you've got Logan Mailloux, 22 years old, right-handed defenseman, 6'3", 212, a very controversial pick back when he was selected by Marc Bergevin because, if you remember correctly, Logan Mailloux rescinded his draft eligibility and status for the 2021 draft. This is because of the legal trouble that he had faced in Sweden, where he did some very bad things to one individual. And he shared some photos, or he showed some photos to other people that were not supposed to see those photos. It was a very, very bad situation. But the Canadiens took him anyway. It was met with a lot of controversy. Even our video had a lot of people going out there in the comments and debating about whether or not the Habs did an appropriate thing here, which I think we could comfortably agree it wasn't really supposed to happen, especially since the guy said he didn't want to get drafted, but he was drafted. He then developed in Montreal, had a 33-point season in 63 games played. This most recent year, 6 points, 13 games. This was multiple years after the draft year in 2021. But Logan Mailloux ultimately turning into Zachary Bolduc for the Habs, I absolutely love it. I think Bolduc is going to be a really good add, if not a second-line center. If he's a third-line guy, then that's totally okay. He is a spark plug who can score some clutch goals. Logan Mailloux going over to St. Louis, though, this is the thing about the Blues. They've been doing some pretty good work with their defense. Cam Fowler absolutely exploded in the most recent campaign, not to mention, I mean, okay, Vince Dunn is not a St. Louis Blue anymore. He's been doing well in Seattle. But the St. Louis Blues saw themselves some really underrated production out of guys like Colton Parayko, Justin Falk, Cam Fowler. They kind of needed it, especially with the departure of Torrey Krug. Even Philip Broberg. Look at this decor right here. All these guys getting around 30 points. Broberg was 1 point away from 30, but he only had 68 games played. All of these guys missed games and missed time throughout the course of the year. So the St. Louis Blues definitely did get some good production out of their D-men. I mean, over the course of an 82-game campaign, these guys all would have been ballistic with points. Cam Fowler, 10 points in 7 games played in the postseason. That's amazing. If Logan Mailloux can get some of that same treatment in St. Louis, this guy could be a 20, 30-point defenseman in the National Hockey League right off the rip, and long-term, he can develop into much more than that. Not to disrespect Cam Fowler, but I do think that long-term, if Justin Falk phases out because he's getting old, if Philip Broberg is the guy on the left, Logan Mailloux can be that guy on the right, and they can fill out together as offensive dynamos. So I like this trade a lot for both teams. I like St. Louis getting Logan Mailloux. I think it's a good fit for their system. I think the Habs getting Bolduc is amazing. Kent Hughes, you're getting nasty with it, baby. Thank you for this trade. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Montreal Canadiens making a trade with the Blues, but not for Jordan Kyrou, for Zachary Bolduc instead. Thoughts in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.